This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, now let's start. So yesterday we have started with what select options. Okay, so we understood the purpose of select options. Select options, what it will do, it will generate the selection screen. Okay, it will generate the selection screen for reading what range of what input values, for reading the range of input values from the user. Parameters also will generate the selection screen, but we can read only what a single value, right? So whereas select options will generate the selection screen where we can read what multiple what we can read multiple range of what values. Okay, select options will generate what selection screen for reading the range of what input values from the user. So let me open the yesterday's example. So this is the example we have seen. Okay, we are reading the range of what net values. We have seen that we have a table called as VBAK table, which stores what sales document header data. So if you go to ABAP dictionary SC11, if you go to the VBAK table, in the VBAK table, we have one field NETWR, net value, which is a currency data type, which comes under numeric data type. So we are reading the range of what net values from the user, right? So how do you declare the select option? First, we need to declare a variable referring to the database field, or we can declare a variable referring to the data element of that field, then declare the select option by referring to that particular variable. Okay, and I gave the default values 1000 to what 1200. Then I declare an internal table. Whenever we click on the execute button, the event triggered is what start of selection. So in the start of selection event, I am calling on subroutine. Okay, in the subroutine, we are fetching the data from what VBAK table. What are the fields we are setting? VBAK, date, time, name of the person, and NETWR from VBAK into table, internal table, where net value in select option. So yesterday we understood that as part of select statement, whenever you are comparing with the set of values, or whenever you are comparing the range of values, we have to use what operator? In operator. If you are comparing with a single value, if you are comparing with the parameter variable, we have to use what? Equal to. For select option, we have to use in operator. Right. After executing the subroutine, control comes here. If the internal table is not empty, we are counting the number of records in the internal table. Already we know describe statement counts the number of records in the internal table and stores the count value in the system field or site field. After displaying the count value, I am calling another subroutine. Inside the subroutine, I am looping it and displaying the data. Okay, done. So this is the way to declare the select option. Done, done. Now my next requirement is, try to understand, uh, when I run my ABAP program, I should get a selection screen. So I assume that this is an ABAP program. When I execute that, I should get a selection screen. So in this selection screen, I want to read range of sales document. So here I want to read the range of sales document. So here assume that I'll give sales documents range. Sales document range. So sales document means what? What is the field? I need to read VBAK. Okay, VBAK is nothing but what? Sales document number. Sorry, VBAK is a table. What is the field here? VBLN. Sales document character of what? 10. So based on this field, I want to read the input values. So now what I want is, suppose I assume that I'll give 4980 to 4985. Okay, this is the range I am given. So on executing the selection screen, what I want is, I want to fetch the header data. Also, I want to fetch the item data. I want to fetch the header data and what? Item data. So related to sales orders, What are the header data and item data fields, item data tables? We have VBAK, which is what? Sales document header data. Okay, and VBAP, which is sales document item data. These are the two tables which stores the header data and what item data of the table. Right? What is the common field between these two tables? VBLN is a common field. So what is the relationship here? Each sales document of what? VBAK table. Each sales document of VBAK table can contain what? One or more sales items in what? VBAP table. Okay, each sales document of VBAK table can contain one or more sales items in what? VBAP table. So what is the common field between these two tables? Both the tables are having a field called as what? VBLN. So VBAK.WebLen is equal to VBAP.WebLen. The common field between the two tables is VBLN, nothing but sales document number. So let me just show you these tables first. So in the VBAK table, it shows the sales document header data. Let me open another session. I will go to SC11. We have the item table VBAP, sales document item data. Sales document item data. Okay. So here you can see there are three primary key fields. What are they? MANDT, nothing but client number. VBLN, sales document number. POSNR, nothing but sales document item number. Sales document item number. Done. And in the VBAK table, what are the two primary key fields? MANDT and what? VBLN, client and what? Sales document number. So what is this header data and item data concept means? Okay, so just see here. Assume that I'll take a bill. Okay, I'll take a bill. Assume that this is a supermarket bill. Okay, this supermarket bill I can divide into two sections. Okay, assume that here I will have something bill number. Every bill will contain what? Bill number. Okay, and assume that we have another column what? Bill date. We have another field called as what? Bill time. Okay, and the user who has generated the bill. Okay, so this information is common for the entire document. So this information is called as what? Header data. Header data. So header data means it is captured in what? Header table. This data is captured in what? Header table. Now if you take the bill here, a bill might contain one item, or I may purchase what? Multiple items. If you take any bill, I may have one item or what? Multiple items. Okay, so here assume that we have what? Item number. Okay, item quantity. Okay, and item price, something like this. Okay, so every item will have item code, nothing but item number. So assume that this is item number 10, item quantity. Okay, and item price, something. Okay, then item number 20. Okay, something price, quantity, and some price. So this data, I'll call it as what? Item data. So I may have one item, or I may have what? Multiple items. I may purchase one item or what? Multiple items. So this is captured in what? Item table. So that is a simple understanding of what? Header data and what? Item data. Header data means the information which is common for the entire document. Item data means individual line items. We call it as what? Item data. So if you take these two tables, VBAK and VBAP, suppose in VBAK table, what are the primary key fields? Client number and sales document number. Let me check the number of contents, number of records, number of entries are some 32,129. Let me go to VBAP table. We have VBLN and what? Item number, sales document item number. Okay, you assume the sales document number is like bill number. Sales document item is nothing but the item number. Okay, POSNR is another primary key field. So if I go to the contents, how many items are there overall? 1,12,281. So I'm not bothered about that. If I come back to the VBAK table, let me check whether I'm having any sales document whose number is 4980. I don't know whether it is available or not. I'm just checking whether I'm having any sales document whose number is 4980. I'm reading the sales document number as 4980. Number of entries. Yes, we have the information into this particular document. So when I execute, it will give me the information of that particular sales document. Sales document number, created on, created time, all those things. Okay. Let me check whether this sales document has got any items in what item table. What is the item table for sales document? VBAP. Okay. So here also we have the common field is what? Sales document. I'll give 4980. So I may have 0 or 1 or more items. How many items are there? Only one item is there. For this sales document, I'm having only what? One item. Let me execute this. So this is my sales document. What is the item number? 10. What is the material number? So and so. Okay, done. I'll do one thing. In the VBAP table only, it will display the first 200 records. Let me execute this. Yeah, 1 second. 1 second, please. Okay. Yeah. So let me come back to VBAK table. Okay, in the VBAK table, okay, that is header table. I'll give the sales document number as 40. I don't know if that is available or not. So when I execute, yes, do we have that VBLN? Yes, we have the sales document with what? 40. Let me check any items are there with this. I'll go to the item table. Okay, so in the item table here, let me give the sales document number as what? 40. Sales document number is 40. So when I execute, when I say F8, yes, it has got how many items? Sales document number 40 has got how many items? Two items. Earlier we have seen one sales document 4980. It has got only got one item. This sales document has got what? Two items. Okay. Number of entries are got two. So when I execute, yes, this is the sales document number. What is the item number? 10 and 20. So all these three are what? All these three are what? Primary key fields, blue color. Client number, sales document, and item number. POSN is what? Client field. Okay. POSN is what? Item number. So my requirement now is 1 second. Yeah, my requirement now is I want to read the range of sales document from the user. Okay. Assume that I'll read the range of sales document numbers as I don't have the data for this one. So I'll read the range of sales document number as something 10 to 100. Okay. So this is the default range I want 10 to 100. So my output should look like this. What is that output? If you take the VBAK table, VBAK table is what? Sales document header data. From the VBAK table, I want some four fields like VBLN, sales document number, date on which is created, ERZDT, entry time, and ERNAM, name of the person who has created. So from the VBAK table, I want four columns. Okay, so assume that the sales document number is what? 10. Okay, some date. Okay, date, then what? Time, and the person who has created. Okay, this is the data from which table? Header table. Then below this, suppose let me check this. In the VBAK table, let me check whether we have any sales document number with the 10. Yeah, we have that. Let me check in items are there for the sales document. If I go to VBAP table, here also sales document number is 10. How many items are there? Only one is there. Fine. So what I want, it has got only one item. So from the VBAP table, I want to display some fields. What are they? Sales document number I want to display, item number I want to display, and material number I want to display. MATNR. And in the VBAP table only, we have a field what? METWR. Okay, net value of the order item. Net value of the order item. So I want four columns from what? Item table. So what is that? 10. Then what else? Item number. Okay. Then item price. Item number, sorry. And then what? Material. Okay. And then what? Price. Item price. item price. So assume that the sales document number 10 has got one more item. Okay, so here it is what item number 2. Okay, something like this, material 2 and what some item price. Done. Then after 10, I assume that I'm having 15. This is another sales document. Again, from the header table, what I want, date, I want time, and I want the name of the person. And below that, again, I want the item date of this particular sales document. So 15. So assume that item number 1. This 15 has got 3 items. For example, okay, material 1, and then what item price. Then below that, again, what 15. Then I want what item number 2, then I will say material 2, then what item price. Okay, then again 15. Okay, item number 3, assuming that we have 3 items for that particular sales document, material 3 and then what item price. Then assume that in that particular range 10 to 100 I'm having another sales document 18. So again I want the header data for this ERDAT, ERZET time, and the name of the person who has created ERNAM. So this is person. Assume that this has got only 2 items, I18, I sales document number, item number 1, and then what material 1, and then what item price. Okay, assume that it has got one more item number 2, and then what material 2, and then what item price. So what I'm trying to show here is I want the output to be displayed like this. What is the output? Header data I want, below that I want what item data, header data, and again below that I want the item data. So this is nothing but hierarchical sequential report, hierarchical sequential report, header data and corresponding item data. Okay, something like this. So my validations are, okay, I want some validations. What are the validations? Restrict the user, or my validations are default to the sales document input values, as 10 to 100. So the moment the selection screen is displayed, I want the default values to be shown as 10 to 100. Then what I want, restrict the user, okay, restrict the user to enter, only what single range. Then what else I want, fetch the corresponding what header and item data, of the what sales orders, and display the same in hierarchical sequential list. Hierarchical sequential not header below that item, again header below that item, something like that. So this is my overall requirement. Okay, so let's see how to do it. So we need to
Sir,
fetch the
here,
data.
what is a single range? Sorry, sir. What is a single range here? Because I can see 10 to 100 is a one range. So you mentioned the restrict user to
Yeah,
enter on this.
yeah, I'll come to that point. During the program, I'll come to that point. Okay. Yeah, single range means it is something like this. If you observe the yesterday's program, let me open the yesterday's program. Yesterday also we have taken select option for reading the range of values. What is the range we are reading? Net value, NETWR from what VBAK table. So when I execute, this is the default range I got. Now you can see on the selection screen we have another button where by clicking on the button, the user can enter what multiple ranges. So I got 1000 to 1200 is one range. I'll click on this. There is a tab what select ranges. I'll click on this. I'll give another range like 1800 to what 2200. So the user is able to give what multiple ranges. Here I can see only one range, but internally select option is an internal table. So you'll have what two ranges. One range is 1000 to 1200, another is what 1800 to 2000. So when I execute, you can observe here, I got the data between 1000 to 1200 as well as from 2000 to what 200. So my requirement now is, yesterday we are allowing multiple ranges. Now I want to restrict the user to enter only what single range. Means this button should not be available to the user. Okay, is
So
it
got
clear?
it.
Yeah.
Sir.
So let us do that. So here, by keeping the requirement in mind, we have to get the data from what? Two tables, VBAK table and what? VBAP table, header table and what? Item table. So let me develop it. So yesterday we have developed the select option like this. I gave the default values like this. Okay. So let me keep this as it is for our reference. Let me open new session and do that. .45. So as part of this as part of this database programming only, I'm trying to cover different types of reports. So one of the report is what? Hierarchical report. Hierarchical report is what? Header and what? Corresponding item data, parent and child, something like that. Type of program is executable, done. So now try to understand. So first agenda is what? We need to generate the what? Selection screen for reading the range of what? Sales document. Sales document is available in what? Both VBAK table as well as what? VBAP table. So let me refer to VBLN, which is sales document number of what? VBAK table. So how do we declare the select options? What is the recommended way? First we need to what? Declare a variable referring to that particular database field. So I'll say v underscore weblen type what? VBAK-weblen. Understood? So in the VBAK table, I am referring to what? Sales document number. Done. So I declared a variable. Done. I declared a variable. Next, what I'll do? I'll say select options. Okay, I'm trying to declare what? Select options. SO underscore select options generally will start with what? SO underscore VBLN, because I'm going to refer to VBLN, I'm giving the same name. For what? For what? What is the variable I declared? V underscore weblen. So save it, check for the syntax, no errors. When I try to execute, I got the selection screen. I want the values to be defaulted. What is the value I want to default here? What is the value? 10 to 100. Lower limit is 10, upper limit is what? 100. So already we know, based on the select option declaration, SAP will create the internal table in the runtime. What is the structure of the internal table? Yesterday we have seen that sign, option, low and what? I. So here, how do you associate the default values? We have to use addition default. Okay. Okay. Okay, let me try to directly give it as okay. Since or else, if you observe this, if you take the VBAK table, Veblen is what field? Character of what? 10. So since it is character, I'll say default is what? 10 to what? 100. Why I'm giving single quotes? Because Veblen is what? Character field. So I'm giving 10 to 100. When I execute, yes, I got what? 10 to 100. Done. 10 to 100. Okay. Now, if I click on this, yes, again I am getting this. User can enter what? Multiple ranges. I want to restrict the user. One of the validation is what? We need to restrict the user to enter only what? Single range. So what I'll do here, I'll say I will use the addition, no extension. I'll use the addition what? No extension. Let me check whether it will meet our requirement. When I say fit, done. I don't have the button here. Means we are restricting the user to enter only what? Single range. This is a default range. If the user wants, he can change it. He can change it. Okay. Done. Now when I click on the execute button, what is the requirement? I need to get the header data and what? Item data. Okay, I need to write two different select statements to get the header data and what? Item data, and display the data in this particular format. So end user perspective, we need to display the data in this particular format. So since I have to get the data from header and item tables, first of all I need to decide what fields you want to get. Okay, so what fields you want to get? So what I want from the header table, that is from what? VBAK table. What are the fields I want to retrieve? Weblen sales document number, ERDAT, that is creation date, ERZET, creation time, ERNAM. Nothing but what? Created by. Then What is that? From the item table, from the VBAP table, I want to get sales document number, item number, POSNR, then material number, MATNR, and net value of the item, NETW. So these are the 4 columns I want from the VBAP table. Understood? So blindly we should not write the select statement. We need to understand what fields you have to retrieve. We need to understand from which table you have to retrieve. We need to understand in what sequence you have to retrieve. Okay, what is the recommendation? You try to retrieve this in the same sequence as at a what database field sequence. Okay, so I require 2 internal tables now. Understood? Because we are getting what multiple sales header records. This is one header record, this is another header record, this is another header records. Understood? So okay, I'll do one thing. 1 second, please. 1 second. So I require what? Multiple header records. These are all the header records. Means the data will come from what? Which table? Header table. Then I want what? Multiple item records. Each header record might contain what? Multiple items. Okay, so this is one item. So this I want to get from which table? This is the item data of which table? Sorry, this is the item data coming from where? From the VBAP table. And this is another something like this. Okay, so when you are displaying the reports, okay, it should be easy for what? Analysis. So we should differentiate the data by giving some different cosmetic appearances like coloring, all those things, alignment, everything. Okay, so this is again header data and this is item data. Just to differentiate, I want something like this. Hope it's clear. Okay, this is header and this is item. Done. Okay, sure. So I need to get the data from 2 different tables. So I require 2 internal tables. Why internal tables? From header also we are getting multiple records. From item also anyhow you'll have what? Multiple records. So that's the reason I require what? 2 different internal tables. Okay, I repeat why I am going for 2 internal tables, because I require multiple header records. I require multiple item records. Okay, that's the reason I'll declare 2 different internal tables. So how do you declare? Already we know types begin off. Okay, types begin off. I'll say ty underscore. 1 second, please. Yeah. Types begin off ty underscore sales header. I'll say something or VBAK, something like that. What are the fields you want from the header table? VBLN type, VBAK hyphen weblen. What else? ERDAT. Yeah. Date I want. So ERDAT. Type what? VBAK hyphen ERDAT. Done. Then here I'll say ERZET. Type VBAK hyphen ERZET. Then ERNAM. Type VBAK hyphen ERNAM. Done. Then I'll say end of what? TY underscore what? Sales header. TY underscore sales header. Based on this types declaration, let me create the internal table and work area. So T underscore sales header, type what? Table of TY underscore what? Sales header. Then I'll declare a work area. W underscore sales header. Okay, type what? TY underscore sales header. Done. Then I require the internal table for items. Right? So let me declare types begin off ty underscore sales items. Ty underscore sales items. Let me take some 4 fields. Weblen type VBAP hyphen VBLN, that is sales document number. Then item number I want. POSNR type VBAP hyphen POSNR item number. Then I require material number. Material number type VBAP hyphen material number. Then what? NETWR type VBAP hyphen NETWR. Then I'll close the types declaration, end of TY underscore sales items. Then based on this, let me create the internal table. T underscore sales items type table of ty underscore sales items. I'll declare a work area. W underscore sales items type ty underscore sales items. Done. So I declare two internal tables and two work areas. Done. So now when I execute this, on click of this execute button on the selection screen, what is the event triggered? Start of selection, which we already know. So in the start of selection, first let me get the header data. First I'll write the logic to get the header data. 1 second. Yeah, also perform. I'm calling a subroutine. Perform get sales header data. Some meaningful subroutine I'm calling. Get sales header data. Okay, so subroutine does not exist. You want to create? Yes, I'll create that in the main program. Continue. Done. So here I'll say what? Select VBLN, ERDAT, ERZDT, ERNAM. This is from which table? VBAK table. From VBAK into table T underscore what? What is that internal table T underscore sales header, where I have to compare with what? Sales document number now, where VBLN in. Understood? Because I'm reading the range of sales documents. So where VBLN in, what is the select option name? SO underscore what? WebLN. Okay, so done. Done. Okay, so now what I have to do, if T underscore what? Sales header. If T underscore sales header is not blank, if the internal table is not empty, I have to get the sales items for this sales orders now. I have to get the sales items for this sales order. So let me debug up to this point and put the breakpoint. So when I execute, done. 10 to 100 is the default range I gave. Right, let me switch to, or I'll start using the new debugger. Okay, we have what? We have different views here. We have different views. I'll go for desktop 3. Okay, so now we have two internal tables. What are they? One is T underscore sales header. As of now, it is having how many entries? 0 entries. What is the other internal table? T, and I'm double clicking. What is the other internal? T underscore, it is also having what? 0 entries. Done. Where is the cursor now? It is about to call the subroutine. So I'll say F5. Done. Control has gone to what? Subroutine definition. What we are trying to do here? We are trying to get the data from VBAK table into so and so internal table, comparing with the select option. So whenever you are comparing select option, you have to use what? In operator. With what field you are comparing? WebLN, because we are reading the range of WebLN only now, reading the range of sales document. So what is the range I gave? Acha. This select option itself is an internal table now. Already we have seen yesterday. Select option itself is what? Internal table. So see here, when I double click on the select option, okay, so you can see the select option has got one entry. You can see here when I double click on this, here you can see what is the structure of the select option: sign, option, low, and what? I. What is the default value for sign? Inclusive. Default value for option is what? Between. What is the lower limit I give? 10. What is the upper limit I give? 100. Why I got zeros here? Because WebLN is what? Character of 10. So it is prefixing with that many number of zeros depending on the width. Okay, so since I am able to enter only one range, I am having only one entry. If you have that other button, the user might enter multiple ranges, then you'll have some more records. Done. So this is under table step. I'll go back to my desktop 3. So select option itself is an internal table. So based on this range, what is that range? What is that range? 10 to 100. I'm trying to get the header data. I don't know how many sales orders are there between that range. So when I say F8, when cursor is here, when I press F8, sorry, F5, done. So you can see here, between the 10 to 100, I got how many records? 91 records. So if I double click on this internal table now, yeah, what is the first sales document number? 10. Then we have what? 11, 12, 13, 14. So almost we are having what? All the records in that. Okay, done. So this is my sales. You can just see this is header data. So you'll have only what? One record per document. 36 is also one, 37 is also one, only one record. Done. Now what I have to do based on this range? How many entries are there now? 91. So I have to get the items for this 91 sales orders. I have to get the items for this 91 sales orders. Okay, so what I'll do now, comparing with this header internal table, I have to get the item data. So what I'll do here, if it is not initial, I'll say perform what? Get sales items. Perform get sales items. Let me double click on this. Subroutine does not exist. Create the object. Yes, I'll choose the main program. Done. So what I have to do in the header what is the header internal table now? T underscore what? Sales header. How many are there? If I give the range as 10 to 100, between that range I am having what? Around 91 records are there. So for that 91 records, I want the item data. So I have to compare with each sales order which is there in this header internal table now. So what I'll do, I'll say loop at what is the internal table? T underscore what? Sales header, T underscore sales header into work area, W underscore what? Sales header, W underscore sales header, end loop. Okay, end loop. Then inside, so each record will come to work area. Na? Now I'll say select WebLen item number, material number, what is the other field? Net value from which table? From VBAP table into what is the internal table for items? T underscore what? Sales items. What is the common field between this database table and this internal table? WebLen. So here I'll say where WebLen. Left hand side is the database field where WebLen is got VBAP WebLen. Where WebLen equal to each record will come to work area. Na? So I'll say W underscore what? Sales header hyphen. This work area has got four fields. Na? WebLen, ERDAT, ERZD, ERName. So I have to compare with what? WebLen. Understood? So what I am trying to do? I am trying to get the item data. I am trying to get the item data only for those sales orders which are available in the header internal table. So let me check how it is working. Okay, so I'm getting some warning related to some database feature. Just ignore it, not relevant for us. Activate this. Then let me debug. I'll debug once again. Just try to focus here. F8, done. It is stopping in the debugging mode. So in the debugging mode, I'll go to desktop 3. Yeah. So we have two internal tables. Okay, one is T underscore sales header, another is what? T underscore sales items. As of now, both are having 0 records. First, I'm trying to get the header data. I'll say F5. Okay, I'm trying to execute the select statement comparing the select option range. What is the select option range? 10 to 100. So when I say F5, yes, between 10 to 100, how many sales orders are there? It's 91 sales orders. Done. Okay, if T underscore sales order is not initial, yes, not empty. We are having at least one record now. We are having 91 records. So not initially, not empty. Yes, condition is satisfied. It will enter the if block. Now I'm trying to get the sales items. Done. So we are looping this header internal table. Header internal table has got how many records? 91 records. How many times it will loop? 91 times. So each time, each record will come to the work area. Na? So when I say F5, done. So the record will come to work area. So in that work area, we have four fields: WebLen, date, time, and person. So I'm interested only with the WebLen. So W underscore sales header hyphen what? WebLen is how much? 10. So what is the first sales document which is looped? 10. Done. So based on this 10, I have to get the item data from which table? VBAP table. So I'm getting the item data. What is the common field between this VBAP database table, and this internal table? WebLen. So WebLen. Okay. So when I say F5, let me check how many items I'll get for this 10. When I say F5, how many items? I got only what? One item. So if you see this T underscore sales item, it has got only one item. A sales document might contain one item or multiple items, but this has got only one item. Fine, leave it. Done. So I got the item data for 10. Again, we are in the loop. I'll say F5. F5. When I say F5 again, what is the next WebLen which is iterated? 11. So for this 11, I have to get the item data. Na? I have to get the item data. So when I get the item data for 11, assume that 11 also has got only one item. So this one should be appended to this item internal table. Na? Already item has got one item. Item internal table has got one item related to which sales document number? 10. Now assume that 11 also has got one item. So it should append here. Understood? Already this internal has got one item. It should append here. So let's see we'll append or override. So when I say F5, okay, so what is the count it is showing here again? Only one. Okay, if you see this internal table, yeah, sales document number 11, item number is what? 10. But what happened to 10? It got overwritten. Already this internal table has got one record. To that record it should append. But what is happening? It is overwriting. It is overwriting. Let me look once again. Done. What is the next VBAK? I got 12. I don't know 12 has got how many items. When I say F5, yeah, okay. 12 has not got no items. 12 has got no items. If you see VBAK table, if you go to VBAK table, 12 is there. When I execute, 12 sales document number is there. But if I go to VBAP table, item table, in the VBAP table, if I give 12 here, it is showing number of entries is 0. Understood? It is having what 0 item. That's why it has not retrieved any records. So what should happen here? What happened? The previous data got overwritten. Okay, so when I go to the item internal table, already it has got some 2 items, they got overwritten. 10 is got overwritten with 11. 11 is got overwritten with nothing because the select is what? Failed. The select is failed. Since select is failed, what is the value of size of RC? 4. 4 indicates what? Select is failed. Okay, fine. F5. I'm looping it again. What is the next VBAK? 13. For 13, do you have any items here? Let me check in the VBAP table. I'll give 13. I got 0. So nothing will happen now. So what should happen is it should keep on appending, but it is overwriting. So why I debug this? Understanding is what? It is not appending to the existing internal, it is overwriting. Fine, we'll address that problem. Done. So assume that I got the item data also. Now what I'll do here only, if T underscore what? Sales items is what? Not initial. If the item internal is not empty, I'll say end if, I'll call one subroutine. Okay, I'll say perform dot display sales data. Okay, perform display sales data. Let me double click on this. We want to create, yes. I'll choose the main program, continue. So in what way I have to display? In what sequence I have to display in the output? I should display the header record. Below that I should display what? Item records. Understood? We should display the header record. Below that I should display the item record. So what I'll do here, I'll say, I'll loop the internal table. I'll say loop at, what is the internal table, header internal table? T underscore sales header into what? W underscore what? Sales header. Okay, end loop. So here I'll do one thing. I just give format color 3. I'll display it, right? What is this? W underscore sales header. W underscore sales header hyphen what? VBAK. 1 second. Sales header hyphen VBAK. What is this? ERDAT. I'm just displaying the header data. ERZDT. Then what? ERNAM. I'm just looping the header internal table and displaying it. Okay, so when I execute that, no errors. When I say fit, then I got only the header record. Header records only I got. But what is the requirement? Under each header, I should display the corresponding items. But already we have seen the item data got overwritten. So at the end, you'll have the item data only for what? Last record. So now here what I'll do, I'll say after displaying the header record, inside this loop and loop only, I will loop the item internal table. Loop at T underscore what? Sales items into what is the work area? W underscore what? Sales items. Then also what? End loop. I'll give a different color for this format. Color 7. I'll display. Okay. Loop. When I'm looping the item internal table, I'll say where. What is the common field between these two internal table? VBAK. Where VBAK equal to what is that? W underscore sales header. We are already in the loop. Hyphen what? VBAK means I should loop only those items. I should loop the items of only a particular sales document. I should loop the items of only a particular sales document. That's why I'm using that where condition. Now let me try to display. I'll debug, then you'll understand. I'll debug w underscore what sales items hyphen what VBAK hyphen VBAK. What else? Item number. What else? Material number. Then NET net value. Okay, done. Okay, right. So save it. Check for the syntax. No errors. Done. When I execute, see the output here. I got only the header data, but at the end, if you see, yeah, I got the item data of the last. I got the item data of last sales document. Why we have this issue? Already we have seen in the earlier execution here. In earlier execution, I am writing the select inside the loop. So I got the items of the sales document number 10. But when I got the items of sales document number 11, the previous item data got overwritten. So like this, by the end of the loop, you will have the item data of only what? Last sales document. At the end, you will have the item data of what? Last sales document. So let's see how to address this issue. I'll debug this once again. Just try to focus. When I say F8, yeah, let me choose desktop 3 for better view. I'll choose desktop 3. So we have two internal tables, T underscore sales address 0 entries, T underscore sales items also 0 entries. I'm calling the subroutine. Done. First, what I'm doing, I'm trying to get the header data from VBAK table into so and so internal, comparing the select option line. So when I say F5, how many header records I got? 91 header records I got. Now what I have to do, for each header record, I have to get the corresponding item data from which table? VBAP table. So when I say F5, then it is going there. It is not initial. I'm calling a subroutine. I'm looping now. So when I loop here, each record will come to work area. Na? So what is the first VBAK? The first VBAK, when I say W underscore sales hyphen what VBAK. What is the first VBAK? 10. So for this 10, I have to get the item data from which table? VBAP. Comparing with what? This particular 10. That record has came to work area. I'm comparing that work area VBAK. Sales header hyphen VBAK. Okay, what is that VBAK? So when I say F5 dot size of ours is 0, how many items I got? One item. Might be this sales document has got only one line item. It may have one line item or multiple line items, but 10 is having only one line item. Fine. Now when I loop here, what is the next header record iterated? 11. So 11 also has got one item now. So what should happen? This item for 11 should go and append to this internal table now. Already it is holding the items of sales document number 10. So this count should become 2 because 11 also has got only one item. This one should become what? 2. It should append. But what is happening? See here, before I execute the select statement, as of now it is holding the item data of what? It is holding the item data of what? VBAK. So when I execute this, it should append. But instead of appending, when I say F5, again it is showing the count as 1 only. If you go and check here, what happened? The item data of sales document 10 is overwritten. So what is happening here? Since we are writing the select inside a loop, okay, at the end of the loop, what happens? This internal table will have the items of only the last sales document number. That's why when I execute also, I got the same result here. I got the item data of only last sales document. Okay, so the issue is where? Issue is in this select statement. When I'm trying to get the item data, instead of appending to this internal table, it is overwriting the data. If the internal table is already having the data, it is overwriting the old data with the fresh data. So what I have to do here, only I have to address the issue. What is that? Instead of overwriting, it should append. So can anyone tell me how do you proceed? Anyone? Here it is overwriting the previous data. How to overcome this? Instead of overwriting, it should append. Okay, so when I execute this, we are getting the result, but this is not the expected result. I should get the item data of what? Each and every sales document. So what I'll do now, I'll keep this program as it is. I'll make a copy of this 45 to 46. I'll copy this 45 to 46. See the changes that I'll do. So the issue is there in the second select statement. The issue is there in the second select statement. What is the issue? First, initially it is getting the item data of first sales order. When I'm getting the item data of the next sales document, the previous item data got overwritten. It should not overwrite. So what I'll do is see the change. I'll say appending fields of table. Okay, select so and so, so and so. Here I'll say appending fields of table what? VBAP. From what? VBAP. Let me check the syntax. Table was expected here. Appending table. Let me check. Save it. Field VBAP is unknown. Appending table. T underscore what? Sales items. Appending table T underscore what? Sales items. Save it. Check it. No errors. Done. Let me execute and check the result. Good. I got that result. What is that I got? Header record in yellow color. Item I got 10. Then 11 I got one item. 12 I got 12 my doesn't have any items. So 13 also doesn't have items. 14 has got 2 items. 15 2 items. 16 2 items. 17 2 items. 18 1 item. 19 1 item. I hope it's clear to everyone. Okay. Let me properly align when I'm displaying the item data. When I'm displaying the item data, I will leave some 5 spaces so that it will leave 5 spaces from the left hand side and will start displaying the item data. So when I say F8, yes, I got the proper data. Okay, let me quickly debug this. See here, when I debug, when I say F8, so we have two internal tables. One is T underscore sales header, another is T underscore sales items. When I say F5, initially I am getting the header data. How many header records I got? 91 records I got. From which table? VBAK table. Done. Then I have to get the items of this each sales order. Na? I have to get the items of each sales order. That's why what I am doing, I am looping that header internal table. So when I loop, what happens? Each header record will come to work area. Na? So first time I am looping. What is the WebLAN I will get in the work area? See when I say F5. What is the WebLAN I got? 10. So for this 10, let me check how many items are there. So select WebLAN so and so, appending table so and so from VBAK. When I say F5, yes, I got only one record. So if you see the count here, I got only what? One record. See the internal table? Yes, for the sales document number 10, it has got only one line item. What is the item number here? 10. Done. Earlier also we got this. Fine. Now I am looping. What is the next WebLAN I got in the work area? 11. 11 also has got one item. Na? So earlier what happened? It has overwritten the items of 10 with what? 11. But now since I said appending, earlier I said into table. When I say into table, the previous data would be overwritten with the new data. But now I am saying what appending. Na? So see this count here now. When I say F5, good. What is the count here? 2. So if you see this, yes, this is sales document number 10. This is item. 11 also has got what? One item. Done. Done. Okay. Again, I'm looping. Okay. What is the next problem? 12. 12 doesn't have any items. So when I say F5, size of ours is failed because 12 doesn't have any items. So the count remains what? 2. Then again, I'm looping. What is the next problem? 13. 13 also doesn't have any sales items. When I say F5, size of ours is again what? 4. So this count is remaining what? 2. Done. Then again I'm looping. What is the next sales document? 14. I think 14 has got 2 items, 2 or 3, I don't know. Let me say F5. What is the count has become 4, means it has got 2 items. See this? 14 has got 2 items. What is this? 10 and what? 20. 10 and what? 20. Like this, it will loop, and then we are displaying in this sequential format. First header record, below that item record. How you are ensuring this display? See the logic of display. First, I am looping the header internal table. I am displaying that. Then what I have to do? What I have to do? I have to display the items of that particular sales document only. Na? So inside the loop only, again I am starting another loop. Which internal I am looping? Item internal table. Comparing with what? The sales order which is available in the header internal table. Okay. So based on that, so if you see here, 10 has got 1 item, it will loop 1 time. 11 also has got 1 item, it will loop 1 time. 14 has got 2 items. Na? So this inner loop will be iterated 2 times. Understood? So I'm displaying the header data. Below that, I'm looping the corresponding item data. Corresponding is what? I'm looping only that VBAK which is available in the header. If I don't use where condition, it will loop what? All the items, which doesn't make sense. I have to loop only the corresponding items, corresponding sales document, and display it. So this is the logic which is taking care of what? Hierarchical display. Header record, below that corresponding item records. Okay, so when I execute, I got the data. Okay, but if you see here, 14 has got 2 items. Okay, what is the item number? 20. Then item number 10. 15 has got 2 items, 20 and 10. Okay, I want to display in sorted order. Sorted order of what? VBLN and item number sequence. So what I'll do, before I loop this, here I already know sort statement. Sort, which internal table? T underscore sales items by combination of what? VBAK and what? PO SNR. Sort this item internally with the combination of sales document number and what? Item. Now see here, it will be sorted in what? Ascending order. So when I say F8, done. You can see now 14, item number 10, then 20, 15, 10, 20. Okay, I got the required output. But there is a performance issue here. What is the performance issue? We are writing the select statement inside the loop now. This loop is iterated how many times? In our case, 91 times now, because we have 91 sales orders. So 91 times select statement is what? Executed. 91 times the request is sent from application server to database server, which will increase the network traffic. When it increases the network traffic, it increases the load on the database server. When it increases the load on the database server, it decreases the performance. Understood? So why it decreases the performance? Because we are writing the select inside what? Loop. How many times select is executed? It depends upon the number of times the loop is iterated. In our case, for the range 10 to 100, we are having 91 records. 91 times select statement is executed. So it is recommended not to write the select statement inside the loop, because we are getting the result, but it degrades the performance. So how to address that are addressed in the tomorrow session. If you have any questions in today's part, please ask me. Done?